This is Jake Lawrence, and you're listening to the Jake Lawrence Podcast, a weekly online radio show dedicated to Chicago industry, technology, and thought leadership. Today we have on Sam Kwak, a 23-year-old entrepreneur, real estate investor, public speaker, and author. You could visit Sam at his LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/Sam Kwak, Kwak, official. Or you could visit him on his official website, thekwakbrothers.com. Today we're sponsored by Corporate Suites Network, csnhousing.com. That's csnhousing.com. They are Chicago's premier vendor for corporate housing and short-term rentals. Sam Kwak, thank you so much for being on the Jake Lawrence Podcast. I hope you're having a good day today.
Yeah, absolutely, Jake. Having a phenomenal day here.
Yeah, in Chicago, it is gorgeous out. I was just in downtown Geneva, and it is, it couldn't be better. It really couldn't.
Right. Well, it'll probably help with an extra 30, 40 degrees, but nevertheless, it still works.
Definitely. Well, hey, listen, I wanted to have you on the podcast because your LinkedIn profile really jumped out at me. And the snippet that you have under your name, it says, entrepreneur, real estate investor, public speaker, and author.
Yeah.
And if you go onto your website, the one with your brothers, thekwakbrothers.com, the little bio thing you have there is just, it really caught my attention. It says, Sam and Daniel are serial entrepreneurs. They have launched 4 businesses and have authored a book, Fire Your Boss. They now train entrepreneurs and small business owners on how to, in all capital letters, crush it in real estate investing and marketing. Sam and Daniel are mentors to 40-plus real estate investor trainees. No matter what background or education you may have, Sam and Dan can train you on how to raise money and find the right deals. So, Sam, how did you get involved in all of this?
Real estate, I got involved about 2.5 years ago, 2 years really. Found my first mentor, and really I wasn't looking for a mentor per se. I guess I can say the mentor found me. I got involved in real estate with a mentor that I already had. He was my youth pastor for a church. And back then I was already running a business in different industry. And I had my youth pastor came up to me and introduced me to the whole idea of rental properties and doing fixing, flipping homes. And I was intrigued, and I started getting involved, and I started taking classes here and there and got mentors to help me out. And here I am today. Daniel and I together, we're in the process of fixing and flipping 3 properties right now. And we got 4 rental properties, and we got a couple commercial properties that are on the table that we're working on. So it's been an interesting journey for the past 2 years of learning and just shadowing. And then now we're starting to really pick up the pace and teaching others and still learning. And that's pretty important. So that's how we got to where we are right now.
Wow, that's a pretty impressive path, man. And how important do you think you say having a mentor has been in this journey of yours?
Yeah, 110% important. I think without the mentors and if I had not had the trainers and mentors and instructors that really helped me and my brother, I think it would have taken us at least 10 to 20 years to be at where we are today. It's been an incredible journey because we were able to expedite a lot of the things that could have came with a learning experience of our own. But my mentor has said, you can learn from mistake that you make personally, but most importantly, you can also, learn from the mistakes of others and potentially avoid it. And to me, that's the way I would say there's a shortcut to this industry. If there was a shortcut to the industry, it would be finding and working with a mentor for your business.
Wow. Yeah. And what's interesting too, and this is something that kind of caught my eye with you as well, is that you're not just in the real estate industry. You're not just buying real estate properties and earning passive income from them. You kind of have like this whole presence around you, like when you go on your website, it's products, you have events, you have your blog, you can buy things and you can become a mentor to other people. So you've kind of like expanded on your original business model, and, you're on like Snapchat too. So you're kind of catering to this whole millennial generation. And you yourself are a millennial. You're only, 24, right?
Yeah. I'm 24 years young, basically.
So I guess you're kind of tapping into this like expanded business model of not just doing one thing and, being hidden. You're out there, man. You're like really putting yourself out there and you're really doing a lot of things. Was this like conscious from the beginning? And how has your business model grown over the years?
I really never had an intention to have our own products, or so to speak. And to me, they're not really quote unquote products. They're just, if they want to learn what we want to learn, we have things that they could, exchange for money to get knowledge. Really, my current focus right now isn't to really sell anything per se, although, there's selling involved in every level of entrepreneurship. Whether you're persuading or pitching to an investor, or you're trying to find another business partner who can help you and build value. There's going to be a lot of selling involved, but to me right now, I'm not as much. I don't have a retail product, so to speak. A lot of what I'm doing right now is acquisition of, real estate, whether it's multifamily or residential, or, single family residential. I'm focused more on building assets, so to speak, than more of the retail sales portion in my business. But nevertheless, if anyone wants to learn anything, we're not going to say no, but we do want to get compensated for our time of, teaching, or in this case, if they buy a book from me or from Daniel, we want to have some cost covered of writing that book. So that's our focus, is more of acquisition of assets, real estate specifically, to rent out and generate cash flow that way.
Who have been your major influences in the last 5-10 years?
I follow a lot of people who are number one in the industry, right? If anyone says real estate, then, immediately you might have a couple names. One of them is definitely Donald Trump, who's our current president right now. I mean, love him or hate him, for those who are listening, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter. I think, if you have the skill to take, $1 million to multi-billion dollars of real estate assets and business worth, that's something to learn from. There's a lot of things that you can learn from Donald Trump. There's a lot of things you can learn from another investor named Sam Zell, who actually became a multi-billionaire real estate investor by investing in the Chicago market. So Sam Zell and I share, a similar market as far as real estate. So in anything that I want to learn and become, I study a number one player. If you want to be good at basketball, then you probably want to study Michael Jordan. If you want to be good at soccer, then you want to study David Beckham. I don't know who the number one guy is right now, but nevertheless, you're always looking for the number one guy. Who is the number one guy, not just with making money, but also who they impact and who is basically changing the dynamics of their industry, sports or whatever it may be. So a couple of people that I follow, Donald Trump, I have my local mentor. His name's Ed. I got another mentor named Roland, and I always work with consultants, pay my consultants to get information and some insights. So I'm following people that are number one in my industry, and whether they're local or they're deceased or they're, whether he is the current president right now, I'm always learning. Those are my top followings that I the people that I follow to gain insights and knowledge and expand my horizon as far as my thought process.
Right. What about your biggest failures? I know you're still young, but so far in this industry, what's been your biggest failures?
I like to say that I've never quite failed. If you mean by that there were bad things that happened to me, yeah, there's gonna be bad things that happen to everyone. To me, I like to reframe those situations as a learning opportunity. Right. One time, this was 2012, so about 5 years ago. I used to be in a different industry. I used to be part of the staging and production, event production industry. So we provided staging, lighting, and sound. And we were still in the earlier days. So we weren't as sophisticated. We were later on. We didn't have a whole lot of things. But I remember in 2012, my warehouse that I had back in the day, we were robbed. Someone came in and figured out how to unlock the lock and basically took everything that I had and left, right? I had pretty much had nothing. So I'd started all over, basically. And did I see that as failure? Not necessarily. I think it was a moment of resiliency, building up my resiliency. And I think part of me says that I needed that just to give me a refresher and different insight. So, I don't really count my failures as failures. I usually like to say, I want to fall forward, right? I want to learn, by mistakes. And again, I want to make calculated mistakes, mistakes that are not made out of, laziness or, not being careful. I want to be careful in every aspect, but if I'm going to fail or if I'm going to make a mistake, I want to make mistakes knowing that I'm going to learn something out of it. At the same time, I'm going to be seeking counsel from my mentors, how to navigate certain parts of my industry so that I don't get as hurt when I do make a mistake or fail. Really, I can't say I fail because I learn out of every experience. So, it's hard to keep tabs on what my real failures are because I grow, and every time something happens, I become stronger and faster afterwards.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head there. Reframing perspectives in order to look at it with a positive outlook. I think that's pretty good, Sam. You are first generation. You immigrated here when you were pretty young, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I moved here when I was about 7 years old from South Korea. And we moved here because my parents had a career opportunity. And of course, learned the language all over again and, so forth. So this is a little, I guess, a shout out or an encouragement to all the immigrants out there who are, for those who are struggling with the culture or the language, whatever it may be, it's an encouragement. And everything can be possible in the United States as long as you have the ambition and the dream, the vision, desire to carry forth and accomplish what you want to accomplish.
What do you think of the American dream? Is it different with immigrants, or what do you see when you talk to other people? Do you have a different type of American dream, or what do you think about that?
I very much believe that the American dream, is still alive. I think it changed in the way that it is right now, but I think it a lot of times people think that the American dream is dead because of a lot of the fear noise. I like to call it the fear noise, what the media says and, what people are talking about the immigration policy and all that. I still very much believe that the American dream is alive. I think it's a matter of choice. If you want to come to this country and be successful and grow a business or whatever you want to do, I think it's all in the matter of your grit and resiliency and your non-compromising persistence to what you want to achieve. Not willing to give up to what you have committed to. I think the American dream is very much there, but I think a lot of people are losing that commitment to it. And part of just surrendering that commitment, they kind of falter into believing that, the American dream is dead because it's not happening for me. In fact, it's very much happening for me, and it's very much happening for thousands of people out there who are committed to putting forth what they want out of life, and they come here and they make it happen. So I think the American dream is very much alive. It's just a matter of clearing and, finding clarity amongst the fear noise of media and what people are saying because it hasn't worked for them.
Yeah, you just said grit and resilience. As a millennial, do you see those qualities? I mean, I'm only a couple years older than you, but do you see those qualities in your peers? Are these qualities kind of, do they only fall to a certain amount of people?
I would like to say a mixed message, I would say. I do believe that a lot of our peers, in their 20s, mid-20s or so on, I think we do have grit, but I think we haven't found what we want to be grateful about. And what I mean by that is everyone has passion. Everyone has motives and desires. It's just that I think we're smart enough to understand what's going on. We're all smart to understand that, we have what it takes to be successful. I think it's more so that there's not enough courage and leadership within our millennials and our 20-something to step up and challenge the status quo and, willing to change what's going on. I think there's going to be a definite social revolution in the next 10, 20 years led by the millennials to change the aspects of, our working environment and what it means to deploy grit and deploy, hard working. I think it's there, like any generation, there's going to be, the number of people who are not going to, challenge themselves and step up to the plate. But I think with our generation, we have so much option and opportunity to expand. I think we're going to see a lot of people step up to the plate, and I think I see it. I see it amongst the peers. I can never lose hope with our generation because I think there's potential. It's just I would like to see some more courage and leadership coming out, leading some of the other peers and creating new possibilities and opportunities to use our grit and our energy. And I think it's going to happen pretty soon here.
I'm glad you're optimistic, Sam. So, when I was looking at your LinkedIn profile and your website, I think you are definitely one of the millennial thought leaders and particularly have courage and you do possess leadership skills. Where'd you get those from, Sam? A lot of people, they get these qualities from, religion. They get these from their peer networks, their parents, maybe opportunities when they were younger. Well, what about you, though?
I think it ultimately came down, I would have to say it's 50% genetics, 50% DNA. My parents are very much, they're ambitious. The other 50% I would have to say comes from my environment, the environment that I was lucky to be part of. And, the environment that I grew up in wasn't affluent or, we got everything we wanted. It was more so, parents taught me and my brother to, if you want something, you got to work for it. We were immigrants, so we didn't have everything. We didn't live an luxurious life. I think a lot of times, in our age, millennials, our generation, will gain those traits, will kind of adapt themselves to be more resilient and grateful, present that they are faced with challenges. So if millennials today understood that their challenges, whatever they might be, at the end of that challenge, if they step up to the plate and, rise above the challenge, they'll have some of these qualities, I like to call emotional and mental muscle. Some of these millennials, they see the challenges, they just use their resourcefulness to rise above. I think a lot of them will gain some of the traits and later on flourish. Those that don't recognize the challenge as an opportunity and just, kind of take the stance of victimhood, I think, those individuals who take that route, being victim, unfortunately, they won't see their potential come about to realization. So I think it comes down to challenges, understanding challenges. Even if you're broke right now listening to this, if you don't have a whole lot of money, that's fine. I think everyone's got a dark period. Everyone's got a time of tribulation. You see Steve Jobs when he first got the idea of Apple. He didn't have everything together. Same thing with Bill Gates. Same thing with Richard Branson. All of these top players in the entrepreneurship world, they had a period of time where they were met with constant challenges, and at the end, they had the emotional intelligence and the muscle to create a phenomenal product or idea and company that now is serving, the world and putting value to the hands of the consumers, the customers.
Yeah. I think this is a good transition to be talking about the types of skill sets that millennials will need going to the workforce, whether they are already in the workforce and going to find another job or not. But I think humility is a really good skill set to have when you're in your 20s. Having the ability to say that you don't know everything is a really strong quality when you're in an office and an environment, when you're even in the interview, right? Having agility is really good. Trying to adapt to rapidly changing, demands is definitely going to be and will continue to be a strong asset for people our age. And, emotional intelligence, being able to read people and, attention is probably really, really important. I don't know what you think about this, Sam, but I kept on telling myself a year or two ago that time is my most important asset. But I kind of realized that no, it's really attention. It's really my focus that's my biggest asset. I could be playing video games all day and not getting anything done. But if I'm actually doing something important all day and applying that attention and applying that focus to it, then it's only important if I apply that attention. So anyways, what do you think the biggest skill sets millennials need to kind of be in this competitive work market?
Yeah, I think you mentioned a lot of good skill set. The emotional intelligence, I think, is definitely a big one. Self-awareness, definitely, area, under emotional intelligence, and you mentioned, I think a lot of the millennials have the hard skills, being able to use social media and technology to do great things. I think a lot of us need the ability to, again, be patient in building something. I think we live in this phenomena where we can pretty much get anything we want on demand. You go on Netflix, you get to watch any movie you want, and just, back in the day, you would have to walk to the video store and rent out and walk back, or right, there was no such thing as instantaneous effect. A lot of what we used to do back in the day took time and effort to get it. Well, some of those things that come immediately to us don't quite happen in our job or career or actually building a business, for those entrepreneurs out there. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen over 10 minutes, right? Doesn't happen that way. So I think deploying patience in many areas in our lives where we know we can't necessarily force it to happen, I think that's going to be a huge thing, because a lot of people that I know, a lot of my peers, they do one thing and they do it for about a year or so, and they're like, yeah, this isn't working. And they just kind of ditch and go for the next thing that, the next shiny object they see, and they apply the same thing. I'm going to do it for a year and let's see what happens. Some of the things that you commit to, won't really come to fruition for another 2-3 years, if not, 5, 7, up to 10 years. You look at Bill Gates from ages 20 to 30. I mean, he was essentially in his cubicle, learning how to program and working with computers for a very, very long time until he even had the idea of Microsoft. So that's another skill set. I think patience definitely can be developed. I was born impatient. I was definitely trained to, understand patience and work with patience and be patient about, different things that are not necessarily within my control. And I think another skill set that I would say is more so a skill set. I don't know if this is teachable, but having vision, definitely another big thing. Not just short term, I'm going to get a job and hopefully get promoted. I'm talking about, what do you want people to say about you when you die, right? When you're on your deathbed or, on your tombstone, what do you want people to write about you? If you have made an impact to many, many people, what would they say about you? And a good example is like Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa died and passed away. Millions and millions of people showed up to her funeral. Biggest delegates from different countries showed up because she had a major, major impact. Everyone who's listening to this have to understand, what is their end game? What do you want people to say about you on your deathbed and when you pass along, whether you believe in the afterlife or not? What do you want? What do you want people to say about you? So I think that those are the two biggest things: is patience to deploy that vision, and understanding that it takes time for anyone to just about build that reputation and impact on other people. And if people knew and worked backwards from their vision, like for me, I want people to say that when I die, that I made a huge impact financially and spiritually because of my company, my real estate business. People have benefited and have everlasting impact because of my life. That's what I want to see. So from that vision, I'm working backwards to build a plan, a strategy. What is going to be my next 5-year plan, my 10-year plan, 20-year plan, 30-year plan? But I'm starting backwards. I'm starting from the full final picture and then choosing, what color do I want it to be, what type of pencil I want to use to draw out that picture. Just working backwards from there, reverse engineering from the vision. So to summarize, time, yeah, definitely, I think you nailed it on the head by saying attention is definitely a resource that's scarce. Patience and knowing what you want ultimately in a visionary way. So I think those are the two main things that I can say that could definitely help any millennials grow and really achieve what they want in life.
That's a good answer. When you said that you're not sure if vision can be taught, maybe in grad school for the public administration, masters that I got, we talked a lot about writing down a personal mission statement. And, that personal mission statement is kind of like that eulogy that you were talking about. And it is trying to kind of reverse engineer, like, what you're talking about, but it's defining the values that you find that you have a passion for. And it kind of gives you an actionable insight, like a plan to do what you want to do. And just having a strategic mindset on how to deploy those actionable insights is really key. So if anyone, wants to learn how to learn about a vision or think about thinking, just, Google personal mission statements, strategic planning, like those things. But yeah, I think you're also right, Sam, about the patience thing. And it really is all about follow through. And it's about discipline. And I think you said it before, it's also about self-awareness. And if you're not self-aware that you keep on not following through, yeah, well, that's a huge problem. So if you don't think you have self-awareness, just meditate for like 10 minutes every single night, and things are gonna start clearing up in your head a lot more. So if you're not the entrepreneurial type, if you don't want to spend 24 hours every single day trying to get your business up and running, the other thing though is, if you're at work, if you're at like an entry level position, following through with like other side projects is so important, because at your next job, at that mid-level management job that you're trying to get in 2-3 years, the interviewer is going to be like, well, how do we know that this person has proof of the follow through, of the discipline, right, of patience, and doing other side projects kind of shows them that. Yeah, so I think those are the types of millennial skill sets that people that are older than us that will be interviewing us are going to be looking for. And those are the skill sets that require successful entrepreneurs like Sam here. Speaking of success, Sam, how was it writing your book?
I decided to write my book. So 2015 is when I wanted to write the book, just because I had a lot of people asking me, how do I start my own business? What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on building a business? So, I just told myself, I'm going to put it in writing so that people can understand and read as to what I did to build a business. I wrote a book in 6 months between December 2015 to May of 2016. Just dug in every morning and started writing. And I do a lot of writing anyways, whether it's blog or commenting on other people's blogs or doing reflection time or whatever it may be. I gather my thoughts together as to what and how and why people, the why and how and what components to starting a business. So I took the time to build a step-by-step model as far as what you can do to build a business, whether it's, you want to own your own beauty shop, or you want to own your own bakery, or if you want to launch an internet marketing business, whatever it may be. I wrote that book together to help people, and the book's called Fire Your Boss, right? So the whole idea is, firing your boss as far as, not having to work for another job, and identifying what your boss is, right? It may not be just your person, but it can also be your fear could be your boss, right? If your decision is primarily being made and it being influenced by your fear, then the true boss that you have to deal with is fear, right? So the book's not just about firing your physical boss, your actual boss in your job, or whatever it may be. But, if you're entrepreneurs who are already building a business, you may need to fire your fear, aka the boss, so that you can find clarity in making decisions and building your business. So I titled the book that way, and it's definitely got a deeper meaning than just firing the boss, your job. It's got more to do with letting go of poor and negative influence so that you can go build something great for you and for the universe.
Yeah, I'm reading the how to read this book section of your book, and you got the who, the why, the what and when, and the how and where. That's a kind of a cool diagram. Do you want to kind of explain that?
I'm very, very analytical. I like to keep things organized, and if you ever show up to my desk, I like to keep less than my pen, water, and notepad, and it's really about it. My computer. I try to keep things minimal. So I told myself, how do I get to the core of things? I don't want to ramble on and disrespect the people who are reading the book. I want to get to the point of, what's involved in starting a business, who you should be getting involved, and who you should be aligning yourself to have a successful business. Why do you want to start a business, right? How do you want to employ your business, and some hard skills and actual tactics that help you and benefit you in your business. So I basically lay down a step-by-step, starting with who, and then to the why, then to where and what, and how ultimately, all in a sequential order where you start with finding out who you are, understanding who you are, like we talked about self-awareness, talking a little bit about, discovering yourself, and then lining up with who you want to partner up with, who you want to work with, and then why you want to work with those people, and, strengthening your reason to want to, even start a business. That's how I structured the book, so that it's really, there's no guessing work as far as, okay, how do I start this? Where do I start this? And all that. I want people to get almost a compartmentalized information, and at the same time, in a way that integrates all together at the last chapter of the little things that can help them take their business to the next level, or even just start a business to begin with.
Yeah, cool. Do you want to tell us who our number one enemy is?
Definitely, the number one enemy is not your competitor. It's not your competition that started a business next to you, whatever, right? The biggest enemy is really you. You're looking at the person when you stand in front of the mirror. Like I said, fear is probably the number one enemy within ourselves. Clarity, right? The blind spots that you and I might share. The number one thing you got to deal with in anything in life, whether you're wanting to fire your boss or you still love him or her, you want to keep your job, you still have to deal with yourself, your fear, your doubt, that you have that's clouding your judgment and your decisions. So the number one thing that I would like to help people find and break through is breaking through their own little challenges that they might have inside and between their ears. So that is the number one enemy you got to deal with. And I think that's the only enemy that you got to deal with, because once you find calmness and clarity within yourself, even with your competitors and the challenges you might have, you don't really have to negotiate around that obstacle. You know yourself well enough to kind of manage those situations that might come in your way within your influence, so to speak.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that. Kind of talk a little bit about marketing and the art of getting attention.
Attention is a big thing, and I fight for it. Like a lot of people are on social media today fighting for attention and getting all that. I think one of the big things that helped me shape my marketing strategies and tactics and philosophy, there's a great book called Pitch Anything by Oren Clef is how you pronounce it. So Pitch Anything is a great book that helped me understand about marketing, how to find and get attention and keep the attention. Once you have people's attention, you got to earn the attention and keep and retain the attention. So my thought today is, half the battle is getting attention and keeping attention. The second half is providing value wherever you deem to be, appropriate. So, I'm always teaching, I'm always sharing ideas on real estate investing. I'm always sharing little things here and there to provide value wherever I go. But to provide that value, I first need an audience. And to get an audience, I need to earn the attention. So to fight for attention, you got to be controversial. You definitely got to be a little more different. You don't want to blend in. Blending is the opposite of, getting attention. You want to stand out, be different, and be different in a good way, right? In a way that doesn't hurt people. Be different in a way that, helps people and adds value into their life. So that's what I would have to say about the art of getting attention. And obviously, if you want to read on more about it, or if you want to learn more about that, definitely pick up the book, Pitch Anything. I definitely talk about it in my book as well. So if you guys want to look into my book and read it, I definitely talk about it, which in fact, I think I've already given Jake the book, which he hasn't. I'll give it to him. If you are listening to this podcast right now, ask Jake for a copy. And I gave him the permission to give away the book as he pleases. So you guys are basically virtually getting my book for free at no cost to you, because you're listening to Jake and myself here in our podcast.
What a nice guy. Thanks, Sam.
You got it.
Just one more quick question, and then we'll try to wrap up here. Like, I'm kind of in the search engine optimization space, and a lot of the off-page optimization things you have to do for SEO it's called content marketing. And I think you and I have a disagreement with that word content, because it seems to me that you think the word message is actually probably a better word than content, right?
Yeah, definitely. Message is a better word, because a lot of times people say content. We don't know what that is. Some people think that content is, pretty colors and, nice looking flyers with nice production. I mean, those are really great. The design aspect is definitely important, and it should be integrated to the message. But when it's all just about, the visuals and nothing really, no substance, people need to learn. People have this yearn for knowledge and solutions. So if you're not providing it, and all you're doing is making things look pretty, then obviously there's no point. So message is definitely a key thing. But even within message, you want to have value, you want to have meaning, substance, embedded into the message, because otherwise it's just noise. It doesn't mean anything. Design is important. I don't want to undermine the importance of design. And design is very, very important. But at the same time, if you have no message, it's just an empty vessel that seemingly just kind of floats around the universe and does nothing.
Great. Thanks for clearing that up. Well, it has been very, very cool having you on, Sam. What I like to do at this point, at the end of the podcast, is I like to send my guests to the Lonely Island. And on this Lonely Island, Sam, you will have a couple items to bring. And one item is one book and one book only. And which book would that be?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be the Holy Bible.
The Holy Bible. Okay. And then which book of the Bible do you think?
To encompass everything, I would definitely say the book of Romans. It definitely summarizes the entire Bible pretty well in a contextual way. So I would have to say it's the book of Romans.
Excellent. All right. Excellent. And then one musical record or artist to bring.
I like to keep my life epic and, colorful. So I would definitely have to have particularly any Hans Zimmer track. And if you guys are into soundtracks, music score, Hans Zimmer is definitely my pick. If I have to pick one out of Hans Zimmer, it's going to be Interstellar, right? The soundtrack is definitely something that's going to keep my life interesting if I was to be in a lonely island.
Oh, man. Talk about beauty. Talk about it's absolutely transcendental, man. Absolutely. Okay, great. Good pick. Excellent. And if you could bottle up a website, put in your back pocket, which one website would you bring to the Lonely Island?
To aid in my survival, I would definitely have to go with Google, right? I know Google's technically not a website per se, it's a search engine, but, I still count it as a website.
Yeah. You get his YouTube too, how to start a fire, how to hunt, how to survive, And what about one app that you would bring?
I definitely want to share my life, the adventures that I'm having with my people on Snapchat. So I would definitely go with Snapchat and just put it on my story how I'm surviving and the adventures that I'm having in the island.
All right, excellent, man. And then any closing thoughts or maybe advice to people that want to start their own business or that people want to get into real estate investing or just general life advice?
Yeah, so for those who are listening to Jake's podcast here, I want to particularly point out to people who are working for a job. I'm not really against the whole idea of employee and all that. I do believe that there's importance of having employees. We still need them. We love them. But if you are finding yourself, just feel unfulfilled or, you're not finding completeness in your life of what you're doing, I believe that everyone has greatness within them to do what they set out to want to be. If you want to start a non-for-profit or if you want to start an organization that helps people, then I would say go at it 100%. We live in this cosmo universe where whether you believe in creation or not, we were all created to be great. We were all created in the image of God. I think that's one of the things that I believe in, that ultimately I find value in people because they were created to be great. And I see someone who is, working, but they're not really finding fulfillment. They're not bringing about impact or value in society. And I challenge those people to go out and really put their potential to use. If we all decide to put together value and potential and the impact all together, I think we're going to have a great human society, the humanity itself. We already do, but I think if we can definitely take it to another level. If we all decide to participate with the gifts that we have and the skills that we have, and if you're not using your gifts and skills and you're not putting on that jersey in the game of life and come play with us, you're definitely missing out, the fulfillment and the energy, the happiness and joy that you can feel within your life. So I invite all of you guys to come play with us, with your potential gifts and definitely, soar higher than what you can imagine.
Powerful words, Sam Kwak. Thank you so much for being on the show. You have some really cool, valuable insights, very, very excellent experiences, and I wish you the best of luck, sir.
All right. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it.
All right. That was Sam Kwak. Again, you could visit him at his LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Sam Kwak, KWAK official. Or you can go to thekwakbrothers.com for his official website. I hope you enjoyed him as much as I did. I think he had some really great insights about success, about business, about lifestyle, and about some good skill sets that millennials should have going to the workforce or if they want to start their own business. All right, we are also sponsored by Corporate Suites Network, csnhousing.com. They are Chicago's premier vendor for, you got it, short-term rentals and corporate housing. If you need furnished apartments, if you need month-to-month apartment rentals, they are your premier source. Go to them at csnhousing.com. Until next time, take care. Bye.